Welcome back to the Farm Show on Westplex Talk 1045 for Saturday, March 7th, 2026. Before we went to break, we heard some comments from USDA regarding the one farmer, one file concept. Last week at Commodity Classic, USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins spoke to the throngs of attendees at Commodity Classic, and then she had a specific press conference for media folks. Now, you can find the full press conference at a number of spots on YouTube. One of them would be Chuck Zimmerman and Zimcom. Another one would be from Indiana, Hoosier Ag Today. We're going to pull the audio version from the good folks at Hoosier Ag Today and play a few clips from Brooke Rollins and her team as they discussed exactly what the One Farmer, One File program is all about, and also other topics that Secretary Rollins discussed at Commodity Classic. To begin, Secretary Rollins recapped the highlights of her speech. Have a listen.
A couple of quick top lines, and then I've got our incredible Undersecretary Richard Fordyce here with us today, who's really been driving the One Farmer, One File announcement that we just had, and then our amazing Aubrey Bettenkorf, who is head of NRCS, and wanted her up here as well, just in case you had any specific questions to that. So just a couple of quick top lines you all heard and have heard me probably say many, many times over the last year. With the massive crowd, by the way, that was incredible, out in the main event stage, talking about three top lines. Number one, the commitment that we made last year when we were at the same event in Denver, what we were going to work on, new trade deals, bringing the cost of inputs down, putting farmers and ranchers back at the very front and center of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It was a new day when President Trump was reelected, and certainly I was so grateful for the opportunity. So that was the first thing, and really giving a report to all of our constituents from that stage on how we were doing. I am very quick to note that I'm proud of what we've done, but we are far from declaring any kind of victory. There's a whole lot more to do. The second thing we talked about, of course, was the One Farmer, One File. I hope you all heard the staggering numbers. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money have gone into an antiquated and broken system that included over 1,000 contractors across hundreds of different platforms. I have no idea how these farmers have been dealing with this all these years. Richard probably, he himself as a farmer can probably talk about that a little bit more, but I'm really proud. We, as I mentioned, pivoted members of our DOGE team to work on this over the last year. So instead of having, the Richards and the Brooks and the Aubreys trying to come up with new IT platforms, we had super geniuses who did this really for a career, walked away from that career to come in and help us rebuild the USDA IT system. So that was number two. And then, of course, number three were our commitments for the year ahead and what we're going to continue to work on for our agriculture industry.
Secretary Rollins then introduced Missouri's own Richard Fordyce to talk about that One Farmer, One File system.
It truly is an honor, actually, to stand here as the Undersecretary of Farm Production and Conservation at this event. And while I was standing here, just waiting to say a few words, I was looking out and I see so many friends. I do refer to you as friends. We've had a lot of conversations over the years. We've been talking about technology. You all used to stick one of these in my face. Now it's something more digital and fancier, and that's kind of where we're going at USDA. We did deploy the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program on Monday, actually urging farmers to get a login.gov account. And the Secretary talked about it in her remarks in the general session. But those of us that have worked on this, those of us that have participated in years previous without an opportunity like this, we were walking around on Monday and Tuesday here at the I almost said Farm Progress Show, here at the Commodity Classic, with smiles on our faces, because we have right now, we have a counter. It's counting all the time. Almost 37,000 applications have gone through the farmer.gov security front door, and that's just the beginning. Secretary.
That's amazing. It's amazing.
The Secretary talked about our plans for the future, and I know, we've met with every commodity organization here, state caucuses on Tuesday. We talked about, this is exciting news. This is very exciting news today, but we're really looking forward to Commodity Classic in New Orleans, because we're going to have a whole lot of other good things to share and progress made on our new digital-facing deployment of programs. The Secretary said your file will follow you when you go from NRCS to FSA to RMA. It's long overdue, and the Secretary made a point. DOGE, some of the architects are actually folks that looked at these antiquated legacy systems and said, "Oh my gosh, these things are going to break," and really designed kind of the pathway forward. And so, super happy to be a part of it. I am not a computer engineer, programmer by any means, but I do know when I see something that looks like it's going to work, I can say, yeah, let's do that.
Next up was Aubrey Betancourt to talk a little bit about the regenerative pilot program and more.
Piggyback off of what One Farmer, One File affords us to do and provide in terms of customer service. We are so excited that FSA is piloting this on this First Farmer Bridge program, but coming right behind it is the ability then to look at the farmer as a whole across that NRCS FSA back end. And so a great example of that will be our regenerative pilot program, which Secretary Rollins rolled out so terrifically just before the holidays. And along with that program, part of its foundation is farmers who are willing to do a whole farm plan, to look at their farm holistically, to see it in all of its resource concerns at once, are able to apply under the EQIP and CSP programs under the regenerative pilot program. And what that allows us to do is actually then go look at acreage reporting and look at maps to share that back and forth within policy, but we are able to do that and expedite and speed up that response time as we are considering those applications and rolling those programs out to our farmers. Contingent in that, of course, is also farmers willing to do a soil test on the front end and back end of that plan as they enroll in these practices, and as a foundation of regenerative agriculture being that conservation management approach that emphasizes soil health, water management, and natural vitality. So again, we encourage all of our farmers, just to put this out there, to go take a look at that pilot program, look at the core practices we've identified within that program, and if they have been doing them or they feel they want to jump in the pool on regenerative agriculture for the first time, we encourage them to come in and fill out that application, address multiple resource concerns on a singular application. We are reducing paperwork. That is what is very important for us. But again, it also helps farmers adopt and transition into that whole farm management approach. We also have within that program an outcomes-based report, because when a farmer voluntarily changes their cultural practices on their farm, they take a big risk in growing what they grow a new way. We can't control all factors on the farm. And so with that, we know that when they create those benefits, it's not just dollars on acres, it's what the dollar on the acre afforded. It afforded improved soil health, improved microbiome, improved soil moisture retention, improved habitat for critical pollinators and others. And it is important that the farmer who created that benefit belongs to them. And so we now are able to provide an outcomes report where the farmer is able to come in, and if you've already been utilizing some of these practices, we meet you where you're at. We can get that outcomes report to you and show you what your recent practices have been doing on your farm and that improvement. We can scope out what new practices on your farm may do with regards to those metrics that matter, as we say. And then when you finish your time under the Regenerative Pilot Project, those benefits that you created belong to you, and you can take that into the marketplace, take that into your own decision making, and take that wherever you would like to or need to demonstrate the good investment you have made on your operation and what that's doing to underline the prosperity and health of our country and our natural resources that we care so much about, that we as farmers care so much about. And so this truly is farmer first. It's putting that outcome back into the hands of the farmer and allowing them an opportunity to transition into a new type of farming, certified by the USDA and hand in hand with an NRCS, out in the pickup and in the field with you and away from the filing cabinet and away from the computer, thanks to the incredible modernization and leadership of these two wonderful leaders. So thank you.
If you're just joining us, we're playing select clips from a press conference held by USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins last week at Commodity Classic in San Antonio, Texas. You can find the full audio many places on the internet, all over YouTube, in fact. I'm pulling some of the audio from Hoosier Ag Today. The good folks from Indiana have one of the sets of full Brooke Rollins audio. Okay, let's get back to the topic at hand. Susan Littlefield, the iconic ag journalist, asked about opening up a section of the border. There's a rumor that that might happen. Secretary Rollins used that as an opportunity to talk about New World screwworm. I'll play the whole answer for you.
Let me address that. There is no plan to open the port anytime soon. Every day I get an update, and every day I have to make the decision to continue to protect livestock on our side of the border. And I understand there are so many implications. There are so many of our fellow Texans that rely on those ports being open, and it is an incredibly difficult call on one hand. But on the other hand, you can go to screwworm.gov, words I never thought I would say a couple of years ago. You can go to screwworm.gov and you can for yourself see the upward movement through Mexico. And this is after a year of working so closely trying to push back until we get the major facility opened at Moore Air Force Base. We will not be able to produce enough flies to eradicate. My hope, and frankly my prayer, is that we can do enough with what we have. We just opened a new dispersal facility down there. We've got the Matapa facility coming online, which is about another 50 or 60 million sterile flies, in addition to the 100 million coming from Panama. We've moved the polygon. We've got AI working. My hope is that we will be able to begin to push it back. And once we do push it back, then we will look at Douglas, Arizona, then we will look at New Mexico, and we'll begin to think about that. But as of today, it's still a forward-moving pest. So there is no imminent announcement. I have learned that my words can move markets, and I want to be very, very careful and intentional when I say that. There is no plan right now to open any of the 4 ports. However, we are watching it day by day. We are putting more boots on the ground, more tools literally in the air. And I am hopeful that once we show that pushing back, that we can move to opening 1 or 2.
Next up was Jeff Nally from Cromwell. He asked about E15 and its likelihood of passage.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I wish you all knew how much E15 has been discussed in the Oval Office and in the Capitol, and what a priority it is certainly for me, and also the president has made clear, and while he was with our great friends in Iowa, for him as well. I have been given assurances that it is going to happen. Of course, there's only so much we can control from the White House, but to your point, this president, when he puts his mind to something can really move literal mountains. So I am encouraged and hopeful. As far as the current state and the waivers, I believe those are imminent, but I don't want to speak out of turn. So if you don't mind, let's get you with Alec, and I want to make sure you have the most up-to-date information on where that sits. But my understanding is those are moving.
Next up was C.J. Miller from Hoosier Ag Today. He asked about the USDA offices moving, and Brooke's answer includes a mention of Kansas City, Missouri.
Yesterday, I thought was an important day. It was encouraging day for those of us that believe that government should be closest to the people that it serves. It was not a great day for people who love the consolidation of power in Washington, D.C. We took the South Building, which for those of you who have visited us is a monster of a building right next to the Witten Building, which is the one where the main offices are. But the South Building, 432,000 square feet, 7,000 offices. When it was built, it was the largest office building in the world until the Pentagon was built. In its heyday, in the 50s and 60s, it was teeming with activity. Today, those 7,000 offices, other than about maybe 600, sit empty. Hallway after hallway after hallway of emptiness. In addition, there's about $1.6 billion in maintenance that is needed in that building. For years, no one would do anything about it. We announced yesterday, as we're moving a lot of the USDA headquarter team into the country, Raleigh, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Colorado Springs, and Salt Lake City, that that building will close, and we'll turn it back to the GSA, who will then put it up for better use, likely sell it, but we'll see. So the timeline question, our goal is to get everyone moved out of DC before school starts in the fall. So we'll be able to make sure that those who are moving with their families to any of those 5 hubs have the opportunity to find their homes, get signed up for school, and get their children in school. We feel pretty confident. We've been working hard for a year that we are going to meet those deadlines. So stay tuned. I think it's an important step, but it's just a first step as working to decentralize power in Washington and move it back out into the heartland.
All right, we have time for one more Q&A. Jeff Schreier from Top Crop TV asks, what's the administration doing for young farmers?
I've seen that. There is perhaps no greater threat. There's a lot of threats, but there's maybe no greater threat to what I talked about in the big room, to the future of agriculture and the future of rural America, and therefore the future of America, than the fact that our average age of a farmer in this country is 60 years old. And as I'm inching closer to 60, that seemed real old a while ago, but it doesn't seem that old today. But I think when you're looking at working to build a life and a multi-generational business and farm, and that's what this industry has done so beautifully, better than any other. The righteous nature of the work has incentivized generations to stay on the land and stay in the business, and we're losing that. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The consolidation, the purchasing of a lot of our farmland by foreign companies, the farming for homes, farming for houses, because you can't make a living farming for corn anymore, whatever it may be. And so all of those is what we're really working to solve to make it more prosperous again. But if we don't begin to focus on opening up that aperture in the market for our younger farmers and ranchers, for multi-generational, your kids, your grandkids, future grandkids, but also for new farmers and ranchers, then I don't know that we can save this. I really don't. It may be okay for the next couple decades, but in the long run, I don't know that we can save this unless we can change that. Having said that, the encouraging, for me, piece of all of this is the idea that America has a renewed focus on the importance of food, the importance of where it comes from.
Okay, we're going to need to cut the secretary short there. She talked a little bit about SNAP programs and healthy food. When we come back, you will hear from AGCO. Did they have a good quarter? Did they have an okay quarter? It's one of my favorite parts of doing the farm show is looking at quarterly earnings. And you will hear from that top manufacturer when we come back.